So you're a Jamaican in 2021. Lockdowns, no movement days, and social distancing are relatively normal. The dollar is sliding, inflation is on the rise, and one thing you would use to escape it all is changing. It would seem as if the days of one love and here I come again Jaja are now replaced with the heartlessness of mankind and the hatred of the human race. What would be a total shock to many is this is the reality of Jamaican music. Distrusting friends, family, the system, and even self are the most prevalent themes in dancehall music since the start of the pandemic. Some say the culture is changing. Or is it the hearts of men that has led to the rise in depression and pain in Jamaican music?
Loving at this world, it looking so depressing.
Well, all my feelings gone from a little bit liquid nitrogen, no cool like all this type of friend. 5 years now, me genuinely can't laugh. Oh dear, we no feel no love.
More than one more that can contemplate about suicide.
I'm not nobody to talk to.
Who you love never love you in return.
Give my heart to some people but don't have it.
And me can tell you pain in every language.
Gotta protect my life, I'm down, no I won't feature.
Smile no, cry later. My heart coming like blank paper. More know if you stress free with something named PTSD.
The topic of mental illness in Jamaica is one that is often swept under the rug. Signs of mental illness are often ignored as you're overreacting, now I don't know what's wrong with them, or my favorite, stop the stressing. So it's no surprise that depression and the whole horde of mental illnesses has seeped its way into dancehall and reggae music, art forms often used to express oneself. This shows the current state of Jamaica and its youth, since according to many statistics on websites like statista.com, a large majority of music consumption and streaming is done by people aged 18 to 35, and we can all assume that the number would be greater if the ages 12 to 17 were added, since the increase in technology places a smartphone in the hands of every human being. So without a doubt, most people are creating music directly or indirectly for the youth, and it shows. Studies from the World Health Organization as well as Brown University prove that since the start of the pandemic and the restrictions that follow led to a sharp increase in anxiety, depression, and mental illnesses overall, severely affecting teenagers and young adults globally. Some studies show that isolation and a lack of human contact due to social distancing and mask mandates, coupled with the increased use of social media, which is known to cause depression, specifically in the youth. Apps such as Instagram and TikTok help influencers and even normal people to promote a false reality, which leads to envy, depression, and the feeling of missing out, which leads us to Jamaica. In 2021, the most popular song for that year was Humans by Nation Boss, a ballad of hurt, anguish and distrust that resonated with listeners locally and in the diaspora. For people who have experienced betrayal, this was an anthem articulating their current mindset. Depression plagues every line of the song, bringing to life the pain that he feels and anyone who listens it. The themes of the song include trust issues, being jaded, and paranoia. Another song that comes to mind is Still a Bleed by Chronic Law, an artist similar in nature to Nation Boss, but he has been at this Jamaican subgenre way longer, even acknowledging it in his music.
Me only build pain and war songs.
The frequency of depressive lines in his music correlates with the sharp increase of mental illness globally due to the pandemic. And it is always the same themes: distrust, depression, jadedness, and trauma-induced antisocial behavior, which was encouraged by the protocols in most countries during the pandemic. More recently, there are performers that have risen to prominence purely because of this kind of music, such as Silk Boss, whose most prominent song that year, that was originally a freestyle, is a symphony of betrayal, rage, trauma-induced antisocial behavior, and misanthropy. Most of his catalogue, like the previously mentioned, have similar themes of depression and rage, and artists ranging from veterans to newcomers have hopped on this trend, and it is resonating with the masses. A similar situation happened in hip-hop music, where the subgenre trap was overwhelmed with depressive lyrics by performers such as Jamaican-born rapper XXXTentacion. But unlike Jamaica, according to their music, the main causes of their depression were failed relationships, drugs, and at times incarceration. Similarly, we see a rising drug and failing relationship culture in Jamaica, and also various instrumentals have mirrored the trap sound in dancehall. Songs now have a slower tempo and utilize trap-like hi-hat patterns. Some may argue that artists create a persona and that they are performing and it isn't real. But if we are to believe every other song they release or their interviews, these themes are evident. Another thing to consider is the isolation of the population. The isolation naturally leads to reflection. When there is little to do, no one to interact with, all you have left is the self, the memories, the feelings, and time to think about it all. If you analyze all the songs about pain that are released during the pandemic period, they are always expressed in a form of reflection and as if the performer was speaking to their self and they just happened to record it, releasing all their pent-up anger and emotions that were previously hidden due to yesterday's Jamaican culture. The sheer amount of fans gravitating to this subgenre of Jamaican music prove that the once fun-loving island of Jamaica, or at least a large section of its people, are hurting, and the artists are merely ventriloquizing the thoughts of a large part of the Jamaican society.